pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to Survival of No Limits. What I got to talk about today, specifically, is that, well, judging by what's on here, number 31, identifying species. Now, when I'm talking about identifying species, of course I'll be talking about both plants and animals as a whole, because there really is a lot for me to say at this point. If you don't remember from the last episode in which I've talked about plant consumption, whether or not it seems likely that you'll be able to survive from it, I've pointed out that there were some cases in life where some plant species have been incorrectly identified and have thus been consumed on purpose, knowing that apparently they could actually be lethal. There of course have been the many cases of mushrooms being toxic and mushrooms that were not toxic. Then of course there are the times where there are animals involved. Yeah. There have been times where people have incorrectly identified animals amongst many species throughout the world. And there are in fact millions to go around, so the first thing I probably should go into is the fact that, well, snakes have actually been a pretty big part of incorrect identification of different species. Because even though there are hundreds of them that currently exist, whether they're on land or sea or even in air, yeah, there do exist snakes that can also fly. Not much like avian related species, but you pretty much get the idea. There are tons of species of snakes out there. In the same way that there are tons of species of birds, felines, canines, and many others here and there. When it comes to snakes though, it's usually a pretty big mystery as to how you can properly identify different species. There have been the cases where some have been incorrectly identified, especially with one case revolving a coral snake, which of course you probably recognize it by its simple red, yellow, black, and white color scheme. And then of course, at one point it got referred to as a king snake, and that's what ended up in injury. And then of course there were the many other types of species out there revolving around the cobras and the taipans and other venomous species out there. Some species of snakes just are pretty hard to identify in most ways. And some experts have actually gone on record to claim that sometimes their experiments were just at fault. But especially when it comes to figuring out what type of snake it is, what genus it belongs to, and what part of the animal kingdom that it's selectively passed on to. Snakes, of course, have been a pretty big part of identification-related confusion. But that wouldn't be all, in which case, because there have also been confusion revolving around different dogs and cats. Because first of all, cats of course aren't naturally given, well, a breed-related name, unlike most dogs. Dogs of course have had their own share of breed names, including the Pug, the Boston Terrier, the Husky, the Greyhound, and the Maltese. Whereas with cats, people have tried to give them breed-related names somewhat in relation to dogs, but unfortunately this has in fact left a lot of confusion behind. Even to this day, me, a pretty smart individual, I can't necessarily figure out what type of breed names belong to which cat in any way. I typically refer to the cats by their color, and not very much by the type of breed that they are. I only know so much about the cats, whereas I know so much about dogs. I mean, you could probably look at it in many other ways, but the thing is, the cats have a lot of confusion, whereas dogs, a lot of people might know them, regardless of what genus, species, or part of the animal kingdom that they originate from. But aside from snakes, dogs, and cats, household pets that we've had for centuries in our lives, there of course have been the confusion of other animals that we've had around here. I honestly could spend all day talking about the sort of confusion that lies beneath, with the many, many articles that people have put up on the web, or the many other type of research that has been given. The types of research, of course, is just one way to look at it. But the way I see it is that either you find out what it is, or you don't even bother trying to figure out what kind of animal it is in general. I just call it a snake if I don't know what kind of species it is. It's a snake, it's a dog, it's a cat, it's a horse, it's a bison, it's anything. Anything at all. So, yeah. I really could have been here all day just talking about stuff like that, but the thing is, this thing is just chock full of a lot of different ideas that I could possibly put together. So, I'm just going to go ahead and draw the line there, because that's pretty much it for right now. But if you want to see more, go down to my channel. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.